Hi and welcome. In this video, in keeping with Halloween, I'm going to try to make a wood jack-o'-lantern with this fence picket. Because it's not very wide, 5.5 inches, it's just not going to be very big, but it'll be a first try at making one. In the future, maybe I'll make something bigger with wider boards. It's very rough as it comes, so I'm just going to sand it with 80 grit paper because I still want it to have a bit of a rough finish. Now for the design, I did put on a piece of paper. This is actual size. So I'm going to need top and bottom, 5.5 inch squares, front and back, 4.5 by 6, sides 3.5 by 6, and caps around 3.5 by 3.5, and then I'll get a little piece for the top of the pumpkin, I guess. So here we go. Of course, you can use any saw you have available, circular saw, table saw. In my case, I have the miter saw, so I'm going to use it. First, I'm just going to cut the edge just to make sure it's nice and square. So for the top and bottom, 5.5 inches. Sides also 6 inches. And next the caps at 3.5 inches. For the front and back, I got it cut at 4.5 inches. For the sides, I need to set the fence to 3.5 inches. For the caps, those would be 3.5 inch squares. I'll be able to use some of these cut-offs for the stems at the end. So here are all the parts. So just picking the nicest piece for the front. And I did download this little template for the face. For this first one, just to make it as simple as possible. I use some carbon paper to trace it. Try to center it. And here it is on the front. So next step will be drill some holes and then use the jigsaw to cut out the pattern. So I'll start drilling some holes so I can use the jigsaw after. So here are the holes drilled. Now we'll use the jigsaw. So here's the face cut out. Just going to use a file just to try to make it look a little bit nicer. So I had to do a second one because I made the face a little bit too big, and when glued together they would have blocked the carvings. So I made one with a smaller face. So now it's time for the assembly. Just going to use some glue and some brad nails. Here is the main box. Later put this on, and then the top. We'll just let this part dry. Next, just going to glue one of the 3x3 pieces to what will be the top. Just a nicer piece for the top. Just more or less center it. It's more decorative than anything. Just got to glue it. That should be good. For the top stem, I just made this little piece out of some of the wood and sanded it a little bit round. So we'll paint that green now. For the other 3x3 piece, we just have to make sure it fits in here. So I'll just have to trim it a little bit one way so that it'll fit. So that when the top goes on, it'll fit in there. So let me trim that. Okay, so that fits in there nicely now. So now we can glue that to the top. So it'll go like that. Doesn't really matter. So I want to glue it in this manner. Okay, so I think that's good. Let that glue dry. So now we see the top will fit in there fairly snug. I've also put some wood filler to fill in holes, so now I'm going to sand it. In order to make the lighting inside a little bit brighter, I'm going to paint the inside yellow. So just to make it easier, because it's small, I'm going to paint the inside of this first and then glue this on. So now it's time to glue it to the bottom. So I'll let that glue dry for a bit. With the glue set, just do, I guess, a final sand. So now we're just ready for the staining. I did go to Lowe's to buy some Minwax wood finish that can be tinted and got it tinted orange. It's a big can, so I'll have a lot if I want to do more in the future. Here's the jack-o'-lantern all stained. We'll let that dry. So next step, just going to add a little stem. I already pre-drilled and countersank because the screw's not that long. And there it is. Now I'll just spray on some poly. Got a little bit left here. Not sure if I have enough, but we'll give it a try. I'll let that part dry a little bit, then flip it and do the other side. I could do the top and the bottom. So I'll let that dry and do a second coat. So here's the finished product with 2 coats of polyurethane. It goes on very nicely. Have different options, these tea lights, some fairy lights, or a fake candle. I'll have to see when it's dark which one will be better. I hope you enjoyed this video. Something easy to make and very quick to make using just a fence picket. For next Halloween, I'll probably attempt to make some larger ones. Thanks again for watching. Take care and hope to see you soon.